Welcome back, guys. Let's talk about the news we have for the pack that is coming up next week. We have basically the core cards revealed. We have the cards that are the most meta impacting cards. It seems to be the case that we do not get Kashtira on the next week or in the next week. Then we, I guess, will get Kashtira on the next pack that comes after this pack. I think, I'm not quite sure right now, it's like 42 days or something. It's when the pack that the Naturia cards were in, like Naturia Mole Cricket, when this pack leaves the shop, I think then we will get Kashtira. So you can think about if you want to save up your gems for Kashtira or if you want to buy this pack, which is also, in my opinion, a really nice pack. But I will talk about this, and I will also point something out that I think in terms when talking about the Bystials is very important. So we are getting some of the really good branded support, which we will talk about in a moment, but we are getting the Bystials. We have Bystial Lubellion, Bystial Baldrake, Druid's Worm, Magnamoot, and Bystial Saronir. Note here that Bystial Baldrake is originally from Photon Hypernova. So the other Bystials are from Darkwing Blast, and this is from Photon Hypernova. So it could be the case we do not have this confirmed at this moment. Could be the case that we do not get the Baldrake right now, which is not that bad because Baldrake is one of the weaker ones. We will get the important ones, but it could also be the case that we just get the Baldrake, we just get the whole Bystial package. It would not make that big of a difference. And there is one thing, let's just switch over to Magnamoot, which is so the core Bystial, you could say. So let's talk about one important thing when it comes to the Bystials. So everyone is basically a bit hyped for the Bystials because the Bystials obviously are a good counter against Tier Elements. Then the Bystials you can target one light or dark monster. Dark monster are all the fusion monsters of Tier Element in either graveyard, so the Tier Element cards, banish it, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. And this is a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster. So this is basically a DD Crow. When your opponent controls a monster, then you can banish something. But the important thing and the big advantage that this has in comparison to DD Crow is that this then is special summon to the field and is a very big body. And also, if this card is special summon, the Magnamoot in especially, you can activate this effect, and during the end phase of this turn, add one dragon monster from your deck or graveyard, by the way, that is really important, to your hand, except Bystial Magnamoot. So then you could add your Bystial Saronir, your Druid's Worm, your Baldrake, or your Lubellion if you play him. I think the second most important Bystial is the Druid's Worm. Same thing here, target one light or dark monster. You can target Harfness, Shairon, and Merly. And quick effect, same as Magnamoot. And then if this got a sent from the field to the graveyard, which you can, by the way, do, we will get to this in a moment, but your Bystial Lubellion can be summoned via tributing your Bystial Druid's Worm, which then activates. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one special summoned monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. So this is really strong, and I would say Magnamoot and Druid's Worm are like the core Bystials. If you wanted to put some Bystials in your deck to counter Tier Elements, I guess you would, if you really want a small core, you would go for maybe 3 Magnamoot and 2 Druid's Worm, or maybe 3 Magnamoot, 2 Druid's Worm, and 1 Saronir. So Saronir, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send one Bystial monster or branded spell trap from your graveyard to the deck, except Bystial Saronir. This, of course, is also not bad, but is more important in decks that really play the branded spells and traps. So in branded Despia, this is a better card than it is in general. So Magnamoot and Druid's Worm are like the genetic Bystials, the generic Bystials that you can basically put into every deck to counter Tier Elements. And now there's one important thing to say here. I would guess that we know basically that Lubellion will be an ultra rare because Lubellion has an animation, so it will for sure be an ultra rare. I also think that Magnamoot, which you basically need 3 of, is an ultra rare. One important thing to say is the following. The Bystials are really good against Tier Elements, and as long as we are on the Tier Elements format, they are really good, and you can main deck them basically in every deck, so that is really important. Bystials really, really strong. But the important point is that there is a ban list coming up, and maybe it will drop tonight at 6 o'clock, maybe tomorrow. We are already a bit late on the announcement. Normally it happens in the time frame of 21 or 20th to 30th. So we will get it in a few days, I guess. Maybe it's the case that we don't get one this month, but as of every other month we have gotten one. So I think we can accept it, expect it. And if we get a ban list, then Tier Elements will be hit, I think. Though Tier Elements will possibly not be hit, like not be killed, because if they kill Tier Elements, then you as a player, as a consumer, have less reason to buy the next pack, the Bystial pack, because Bystials are like really strong against tier elements. And of course, there is this deck I want to talk about in a moment, Bystial Dragonlink. For the Bystial Dragonlink deck, you would need the Bystials, whether there is tier element or not. But for basically every other deck, Bystials are more like a really good tech card against tier elements. And what will possibly happen if a tier element leaves the format then, which of course will happen in, let's say, 1 to 2 months, then Bystials will become less important. And we have seen that in the TCG already. There was the format with Kashtira, which will be the next big deck that we will get, where Bystials were basically never played. You do not really play them in your main deck. They are more like side decks card, and even in the side decks of TCG, they were not played a lot. So what will happen, I think, is once tier element leaves the meta, then the Bystials will become very much not relevant anymore, besides being in branded Despia a few Bystials and in a Dragonlink Bystial. But they will not be generic important cards anymore. They are more like side deck cards, but we don't have a side deck in our best of one format. So I think they will of course pop up in some future format if there will be a good graveyard strategy which has light or dark monsters. They will once again pop up, so they are like a flexible hand trap kind of card. But keep that in mind. Keep in mind that this card, the Bystials, seem to be very good right now, but there will come a point in which you will not tag Bystials in your main deck if you're not playing Bystial Dragonlink or branded Despia. That's really important to note. So if you want to save your gems or resources, like save your resources, and you do not want to play Bystial Dragonlink or branded Despia, then you do not need to heavily invest into this deck, because you have already played against tier elements on the ladder, so you can basically beat tier elements even without Bystials. Or maybe what you could also do is just go for the cheaper Bystials. So I would assume Magnamut is an ultra rare, and I would not assume that Saronir and Druid's Worm, and if we get it, Baldrake, will also be ultra rares. I don't think that. So I think a few of them will be super rares, maybe a rare, and then you could, let's for example say your Saronir is a rare. What you can do then to have a cheaper option is to just take 3 Saronirs and have them in your deck against tier elements. Of course, the Magnamut is really nice because you can search another Bystial to the hand, so Magnamut is really the core of the Bystials. But obviously you can just play a cheaper version and then go for the cheaper Bystials. That you could also do. This is important to note here. So don't get too confused when it comes to the Bystials. They are strong, but they will become less relevant once tier elements leave the format. That is for sure. Then we have the Bystial Lubellion, which is not is another Bystial. This Bystial is used in a branded Despia and also in Bystial Dragonlink, but you won't use him in your basic like normal deck that just wants to counter tier elements. Let's just read the card. This cannot be special on either, cannot be normal summon set, must be special summon from your hand or graveyard. This is cool by attributing 1 level 6 or higher Dark Dragon monster. All your Bystials are Dark Dragon monsters. You can only special summon Bystial Lubellion once per turn this way. You can only use each effect of each of the following effects of Bystial Lubellion once per turn. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard and add 1 Bystial monster from your deck to your hand. So this is pretty cool. You could get your Magnamut and then play your Magnamut, activate Magnamut's effect to in the end phase get another Bystial. Except Bystial Lubellion, and during the main phase you can place 1 branded continuous spell trap from your deck face up on your field. So I think now it gets clear that this card is really good in branded Despia and in Bystial Dragonlink. So what you would get in Bystial Dragonlink is either your branded beast, which we will also get in the next pack. Once per turn during the main phase, if you control a Bystial monster, you can tribute 1 dragon monster, one of the Bystials, target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. And during the end phase, you can target 1 branded continuous spell trap in your graveyard and place it face up on the field. You would also play in Bystial Dragonlink this year branded Regained that says if a light or dark monster is banished. So if you do something with your Bystials, you can target 1 of those monsters, place that monster on the bottom of the deck, and then draw 1 card. And you also, once per turn, if your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can target 1 Bystial monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So these 2 cards are basically the engine that Bystial Dragonlink uses to gain more advantage. And if you play the Bystial Lubellion in a branded Despia, in a branded Despia strategy, you could, for example, set your branded, how is it called? The spell card that if you make a fusion summon, you can search the negate bird. Branded Lost, exactly, the continuous spell card. You could set that. So if you want to play branded Despia or Bystial Dragonlink, you need your Bystial Lubellion. In Dragonlink, you need it 2 to 3 times, and in the branded Despia strategy, you can get away with only having it once. Then we have also Bystial Lubellion. Just read it for a second. You can only target light monster. This is same as always. And if your opponent special summons a ritual, fusion, synchro, XYZ, and or link monster, you can tribute one other light or dark monster. Then target one of those summoned monsters and banish it. So also really strong. We would see if we will get this. We have talked about Druid's Realm, we've talked about Magnamut and Saronir, talked about Branded Beast and Regained. So these are the cards we can expect. As I already said, Branded Regained is not like confirmed, but I guess it's in the same set as is Branded Beast, so I think we will also get this. And then we get the cool support cards for Branded Despia. The first one and the most important one is Blazing Katisha, the Virtuous. So if you control Fallen of Albas or it is in your graveyard, so that is often the case, you can special summon this card from your hand, but obviously you can also normal summon it. During the main phase quick effect, your main phase and your opponent's main phase, you can fusion summon one level 8 or higher fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. During the end phase, if a fusion monster was sent to your graveyard this turn, so you most of the time send your Albion via your Mirror Jade, then this activates and you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. So you can take this resource and use it again. So this is really nice. This is also really nice if your Branded Fusion gets ashed, then you have another way to make a fusion summon happen. And you can summon this card via your Fusion Deployment, the spell card that you can get in one of these structure decks. I think the Cyber Dragon structure deck. Fusion Deployment allows you to show one of the fusion materials that is mentioned on a fusion card, which we'll come to in a moment, and then special summon it to field. This is the way that you can get your Blazing Katisha on field. So really strong for the Branded Despia strategy. And then we get the fusion monster, the Grangenule, the Dusk Dragon, which has Blazing Katisha here on the text, because this needs Blazing Katisha, one light or dark monster. So via your Fusion Deployment and then showing your Grangenule, you can then special summon your Katisha to the field, and if this card is fusion summoned, you can send one level 6 or higher light or dark monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. So you can see here is already a synchro, or not a synchro, but they already work together, because then you can send for example your Albion, and then your Katisha, which you have used to fusion your Grangenule, will get back to your hand, because I just read the effect of Katisha. It says here that if a fusion monster is sent, or if a monster from extra deck is sent to the graveyard, you can add this to the hand. And then if a monster is special summoned by your opponent's activated monster effect, so a bit of a special effect, I would say, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard. This is cool. This can also work from the graveyard. Special summon one Dogmatica monster from your deck or one Despia monster from your extra deck. So you could, for example, summon your Despian Proskinian, or your how is the other guy called? Despian, the guy that makes everyone has 0 attack, Despian Quietus. And you can only use the effect of Grangenule, the Dusk Dragon, once per turn. So you will basically, this will be an ultra rare, I guess, same as Blazing Katisha. Blazing Katisha you will need 1 to 2 times. This is really cool. This is really makes the deck more consistent. You will need 1 Grangenule, and then we also have another fusion monster. So after this, there are only 2 cards left that we are missing for the full branded strategy, Branded Despia, which is Quem, and the other Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon, which we will get in a future pack, but I think not right now, because these just came out in the TCG. So this Rindbram, the Striking Dragon, says 1 Fallen of Albas. Pretty basic. You can also see Fallen of Albas here on the foot of the dragon, and 1 Beast Warrior or Winged Beast monster. So a bit more special to summon this, but possible for the Branded Despia strategy. And when a fusion Synchro XYZ or Link monster effect is activated, which happens a lot, quick effect, you can negate that effect. Then you can return 1 monster on the field to the hand. You can also return a monster on the field to the hand of your opponent. And during your opponent's turn, while this card is in your graveyard, this also has a graveyard effect, which is pretty nice. Quick effect, you can target 1 Fallen of Albas in your graveyard, special summon either that monster or this card, and banish the other. So let me just read that, because I am not quite sure how this works. During your opponent's turn, while this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can target 1 Fallen of Albas in your graveyard. Ich targete den, special summon either that monster or this card and banish the other. Okay, so you can special summon a Fallen of Albas and banish the Rindbram, or you can special summon the Rindbram and banish the Fallen of Albas. Which is pretty cool, because this is a quick effect, and let's just say during your opponent's turn, while this card is in your graveyard, let's just say your opponent summons, I don't know, an XYZ monster, like a Zeus. Then you can activate this here, quick effect, and special summon a Fallen of Albas. Okay, Zeus could activate its effect, but let's imagine the Zeus has no materials. Works with every other extra deck monster, and then you can use the Fallen of Albas and discard a card and fusion summon with the Fallen of Albas, for example, making a Mirror Jade. So you can see that there is a lot of cool support coming for the Branded Despia strategy as well. And this is like the core of the next pack, the Bystials and the Branded Despia. support. This will be the most important cards, and you can expect a lot of them being ultra rare. I mean, of course, these guys are basically like boss monsters because they are big fusion monsters. I think they will both be ultra rare. I would be shocked if they are not. This one, I think you will use one time, the other one also one time, and then 2 Blazing Cartesia, or maybe 1. Yeah, that's it for the pack. Let me know in the comments if you are excited. Let me know in the comments if you want to buy the pack. If you're planning on buying the pack, I will for sure, because I love Blended Despia, and I also want to play the Bystial Dragon Link. By the way, I think I already said that, but for your Despia strategy, you would also use 1 Bystial Lubellion, and because we still have tier elements, you would then also probably use a few Magnamoot, Serenade, Rule Swarm for your deck. But let me just say this again, I think there is no need to get the Bystials. You don't need them, so they're not so important if you do not want to play Bystial Dragon Link or Branded Despia. Alright guys, let me know in the comments if you want to buy it. Let me know in the comments which decks you are hyped for and are playing at the moment. And yeah, awesome that you were here, and I hope we see each other in the next one.